morning, students. How are you all? Hope you all are fine at home and thinking that you all are preparing for the half-yearly examination. Okay, so today we are going to learn the ninth lesson. So, 9 lessons are there for the half-yearly examination. Okay, the portion is 9 lessons. Full portion, but the last one I am not able to complete because we need the computer. That is why. Okay, so we cannot do that one. So here, this ratio analysis, the 8th lesson we were learning about the financial statement analysis. That the 3 way of analysis we have learned, isn't it? The first one, comparative statement analysis. Second one, common size statement analysis. Third one, trend analysis. Then some more analysis there. One among them is the ratio analysis. Then fund flow, cash flow analysis. Many are there. Okay, that and all you may learn the higher classes. Okay, here this ratio analysis. What is the ratio? The same thing. The income statement or the financial balance sheet items will be analyzed. Okay, here this is also one of the tool of analyzing the financial statement. Here the ratio analysis. Here what we do, the ratio means, first you should know the meaning of the ratio, isn't it? So it is, we know that 3.3:1, that means it is called a ratio, isn't it? So it is a mathematical expression. Okay, that means we are comparing, one is 3, the other one is 1. So we have the relationship between two related items or interdependent items. Okay, so that is called ratio. Here we are comparing the accounting information, accounting items. That is why it is called accounting ratios. Okay, here 3 forms of ratios are there. One is pure ratio. Okay, here that means this is pure ratio, 3:1. And with a ratio can be expressed in percentage also. Okay, maybe 30 percentage or 25 percentage. The other one, times. In times we can give 4 times or 2 times. Okay, that 3 in way we can express the ratio. Pure ratio, percentage ratio, time ratio. Okay. So what is the meaning of the ratio analysis? So we are, that is study of relationship among the various financial factors in a business. That means how much sales, and for this much sales, what is the profit? Okay, for then we profitability ratios and all we will calculate as percentage. Okay, that we will learn one by one when we learn the ratios. Okay, so what are the objectives of learning these ratios? Okay, what are the objectives? So we can simplify the accounting figures. Okay, this is for 1:2. That means that current asset is 1, liability is 2. So easily we can find out. Okay, current asset is 1 means if current assets are 1, the current liabilities are 2. So the firm is having more liability. Okay, no need to compare the figure. Here 1:1, 2:1. Easily we can understand. Okay, then that the efficiency of the business, that through the profitability ratio we can calculate the efficiency, the liquidity, solvency position, all these they can calculate. Then budgeting can be done, budgeting or forecasting can be done, and they can compare the statements, maybe the inter-firm statements or intra-firm. Inter-firm means between 2 or 3 organizations, firms, items can be compared. Intra-firm means within the firm different departments can be compared. Okay, that one. Then classification types. The ratio analysis is classified into 2. One is traditional classification, The other one is functional classification. Okay, functional. First one, traditional classification. The traditional classification that related to the financial statements. We have two statement, isn't it? One is the income statement. The other one, the balance sheet, isn't it? So here, if the ratio, if we compare the items between the items, among the items in the balance sheet, then it is called balance sheet ratio. Okay, then if the items in the income statement is analyzed, compared, then that is called income statement ratio. Okay, if an item from balance sheet and an item from income statement is compared, that is called interstatement analysis. Only two statements we have, one income statement and balance sheet. So that if we compare one item from here and another item from balance sheet, that is called interstatement analysis. Okay, so this one is not followed. We are going to learn the second classification, the functional ratios. Functional classification. Here under this function only, we are going to divide the ratios into 4 headings. Okay, as per the function of the what are the functions business is performing. Okay, as per their function, it is liquidity ratios. Then second one, long-term solvency ratios. These two ratios we are going to learn today. Okay, liquidity ratios and long-term solvency ratios. Here, this liquidity ratio is again classified into two. That one, current ratio. Okay, current ratio and quick ratio. Second one is quick ratio. Here, this current ratio. What is current ratio? We will learn. Okay. First, we will learn what is the meaning of liquidity ratios. Here, the liquidity ratio means, first you should know the meaning of liquidity. In commerce, we have learned. That means the capability of being converting into cash or cash equivalent. Okay, easily. So, whether we can convert the assets into cash. Okay, that we can say which assets can be converted into cash easily, the current asset, isn't it? So the current asset we can say. So this liquidity ratios can also be explained as short-term solvency ratios. Okay, the one is short-term solvency, other one long-term solvency. Both solvency only, because whether the current assets are enough to pay the current liabilities, that is called current ratio. Okay, that means the proportion of current assets to current liabilities. So what is the formula? Current ratio is equal to current assets divided by current liabilities. Okay, all the current, what are the current assets included? Everything. Okay, all the current assets. That means current assets meaning what? The assets which can be converted into cash. Okay, or cash equivalent. That means cash equivalent means maybe check. Check also same to cash only. Within the day, if you go to the bank, we can convert into cash. So cash and cash equivalent in a short period of time. Short period of time, we can say maybe 1 year. Okay, so that means the accounting year. Okay, so assets that can be converted into cash or cash equivalent within a short period as 1 year. Okay, so what are the current liabilities which are repayable within 1 year? Okay, within a short period of time, maybe 1 year, or within the, that they say the operating cycle. Operating cycle means within a short period. Okay, 1 year. So what are the current assets? We know the current assets, isn't it? Maybe the investments, then stock, closing stock, that is called inventories. Okay, inventories are stock. Then trade receivables. Trade receivable means bills receivable and sundry debtors. Together only trade receivable. Sundry debtor minus provision for doubtful debt. Okay, we got to deduct. That is called trade receivables. Then all cash and cash equivalent. Maybe cash in hand, cash at bank. That is called cash and cash equivalent. Okay. Then any short-term loan that we have given to other people. Okay, loan given, not loan received. Okay, loan given. Then any other current asset. Other current asset means prepaid expenses. Okay, prepaid expenses and accrued income. All these are assets. Prepaid expenses we will write in the current asset side. Accrued income accrued but not received, that one. Okay, all these are current assets. Then what are current liabilities? Current liabilities means short term borrowings. That means the loan that we have borrowed from the bank. Okay, short term, within 1 year we will pay, not long term borrowings. Okay. Then trade payables. Trade payables as a trade receivable. There we have added bills receivable and sundry debtor. Here trade payables means bills payable and sundry creditors. Okay, these two together. Then other current liabilities. That any expense, that means outstanding expenses. Expense payable, that is the meaning. Okay. Then income received in advance. Received in advance. Okay. Then any other short-term provision. All these are the current liabilities. Okay, so we can calculate, if we know the current assets and current liabilities, current asset divided by current liabilities, we will get the current ratio. Okay. So we will do one exercise. Okay, exercise 1 you take. Exercise 1 is in page number 320. Okay, calculate the current ratio from the following information. Number 1. Okay, calculate the current ratio from the following information. So first we should write current ratio is equal to current assets divided by current liabilities. Okay, you write fully. Okay, now current asset is equal to, what are the assets given? Current investment. Okay, you have to write first current investment, then inventories plus trade debtors. You write fully. Okay, then bills receivable plus cash and cash equivalent. Then other side fixed assets, trade creditors, bills payable, expense payable, non-current liability. It will not come, isn't it? So now you write the amount. Current investment 40,000. Trade inventories 2 lakh. 1,20,000 plus 80,000 plus 10,000. Okay, for 40,000, 2,40,000, 3,60,000, 3,70,000, 3,70,000, 4,50,000. Okay, current liabilities. What are the current liabilities given? Fixed assets will not come. Trade creditors plus bills payable plus expense payable. Non-current liability will not come. Okay, expense payable. Trade creditors 80,000, bills payable 50,000, expense payable 20,000. So how much? 1,50,000, isn't it? 1,50,000. So now current ratio. Once again you write. How much is the current asset? 4,50,000 divided by 1,50,000. 45 divided by 15. So okay, here 1, here 3. So 3 by 1. So we have to write 3:1. In ratio only we should write. Okay, not in fraction, ratio only we need to write. Okay, have you understood this one? Next one, we will learn the quick ratio. Under liquidity ratio, the second one is quick ratio. Quick ratio means from this, that quickly how or what are the assets can be converted into cash. Okay, then very fast. Whenever the current liability is due, we need to pay that current liability. So what are the current assets available uh, to be convertible very fast? Okay, that means here in the current assets we need to exclude two items. Okay, then inventories and prepaid expenses we need to remove. So that this here the formula is quick assets divided by current liabilities. Quick assets divided by current liabilities. Current liabilities we know all the items. Here quick assets we need to calculate. Quick assets means current assets minus inventories minus prepaid expenses. These two we need to exclude from the current asset. We will get the quick assets. Okay, because why these two we are excluding? This inventories within 2-3 months we cannot convert it into cash. That is not up to our hands. If the customers purchase all the goods within short period we can sell. Otherwise it will be stock only, isn't it? Is as per the demand it will vary. Here, prepaid expenses cannot be converted into cash because this is already we have paid. Okay, only the benefit we can derive, but we cannot convert this into cash. So, these two cannot be converted. This cannot, not at all can be converted. But here, this one inventory can be converted, but not very fast. That is why for the quick assets, we are reducing inventories and prepaid expenses from the current assets. Okay, so what is the formula? Quick assets, quick ratio is equal to quick assets divided by current liabilities. Okay, here if the quick assets are more, okay, if the ratio is high, the quick assets are more, then what is the position of the firm? That their short-term financial position is better, isn't it? Because they have more quick assets to pay the current liabilities. Understood now? The quick ratio. Now we will do the second problem. Okay, from the exercise. I will read. Calculate quick ratio. Total current liabilities 2,40,000. Total current assets 4,50,000. Inventories 70,000. Prepaid expenses 20,000. So first we will write the quick ratio formula. Quick ratio is equal to quick assets divided by current liabilities. Here quick assets means current asset minus inventories and prepaid expenses. Here current assets 4,50,000 minus inventories 70,000 minus prepaid expenses 20,000. So how much? 4,50,000 minus 90, isn't it? So 3,60,000. Okay, 3,60,000. Now quick ratio is equal to quick assets how much? 3,60,000 divided by current liabilities 2,40,000. 36 by 24. So 12 means here 3, here 2. So we can say if this is 1, this is 1.5, isn't it? So 1.5 is to 1. Okay, we should not write 3 by 2. Okay, in 1 only we can. If this is 1, how much is this? 1.5. Okay, this is the quick ratio. Now we will learn the next ratios. Now you have understood the liquidity ratios. Okay, 2 ratio we have learned. Then the long-term solvency ratios we are going to learn. There 3 ratios are available. Okay. Long-term solvency ratio means this one, first one we have learned about that is short-term solvency, isn't it? How much is the current asset, how much is the current liability. Now we are going to learn what is the firm's ability to meet its long-term liabilities. Okay, that means long-term loan, how much it has, whether the assets, the fixed assets, they are equal to pay back their liabilities, long-term liabilities. Okay, here we have 3 ratios. Okay, the first one is debt equity ratio. Okay, debt equity ratios. Then proprietary ratio, capital gearing ratio. Okay, if we learn these 3 ratios, we can do the next problem. Okay, so first we will learn what is debt equity ratio. Here debt means the long term debt. Okay, equity means the shareholders funds. Okay, so that means we are assessing the long term solvency, that debt long term solvency ratio, whether our equity is available, the long term fund, shareholders funds are available to meet the long term loan debt. Okay, so here the formula is long term debt. Debt means what? You have to remember this two word. Okay, debt means long term debt, because the ratios name itself is long term solvency ratios. Long term debt. Okay, simply debt means not the short term debt. Long term debt divided by, here equity means we know the capital, isn't it? But one more thing is added, that is called shareholders funds. Now we will learn what will be included in the long term debt. Okay, what should be added to calculate that long term debt? Long term debt includes debentures. Okay, debentures, then bond, if there is any bonds, then long term loans. Loans in the sense long term loans. Then any other borrowings. Okay, they all included for to calculating the long term debt. Now shareholders funds. What should be added to calculate the shareholders funds? First one, equity share capital. Okay, then preference share capital plus reserves and surplus. Okay, 3 items: equity share capital, preference share capital, reserves and surplus. Okay, that is called debt equity ratio. Very easy, you may not forget to learn the formula. Okay, you have to keep in mind debt equity ratio means debt divided by equity. Equity means shareholders funds. So long term debt means debentures, bonds, loans and other borrowings, long term borrowings. Shareholders funds means equity share capital, preference share capital, reserves and surplus. Now we will see the second ratio is the proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio means the shareholders funds. We are now about the proprietor we are calculating. Okay, the shareholders funds only. Proprietors are who? The shareholders, isn't it? The shareholders funds to their assets. Total assets. Assets are also his only. Okay. So how much funds have been used for the purchasing total assets? Okay, that is the meaning. Okay. If the funds are great, then it is good. Okay, that the proprietary ratio, if it is higher ratio, then they have more fund. Okay, that will be the favorable balance. Proprietary ratio. Here, to calculate this proprietary ratio, the formula is shareholders funds. You have to think about proprietor. Okay, then you will write who is the proprietor? Shareholder. So shareholders funds divided by total assets. Okay, shareholders funds we know. What are, how to calculate the shareholders funds? Equity share capital, then equity shareholders funds here, not preference share capital. Shareholders funds means their equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. Okay, shareholders funds we have studied. Okay, equity share capital, preference share capital plus reserves and surplus, correct only. Okay, as per the first formula. Then total assets we know. Total, all the current assets and fixed assets together, total assets. Here we do not need to learn what should be added. Okay, shareholders funds means what? Shareholders funds, equity share capital, preference share capital, and reserves and surplus. Okay, then total assets we know, current assets plus fixed assets. Now the third ratio is the capital gearing ratio. Okay, capital gearing ratio. Capital gearing ratio. Here, whether gear we know, isn't it? The very first gear, second gear, they used to say, isn't it? The last gear means it very difficult to move. That way. You have to remember the gear. Here, we are going to compare the funds bearing. That means fund bearing in the shareholders funds. Okay. Fixed interest. We are going to compare the, first we will learn the formula. Okay. Funds bearing capital. Okay. Capital gearing. So fund bearing fixed interest or fixed dividend. Okay. Divided by equity shareholders funds. There we have learned the shareholders funds. Here it is equity shareholders funds. Here fund bearing fixed interest or fixed dividend. What and all included to calculate this fund? Here funds bearing equal to funds bearing fixed interest or fixed dividend means preference share capital. Okay, because for preference share capital we have to pay the dividend. Okay, fixed rate of dividend we need to pay. Then debenture. For debenture also fixed interest should be given. Then any other bond, for that also we need to pay. Then any other long-term borrowings, loan having fixed interest. Okay, having fixed interest. That means interest rate will be given. Okay, they are called funds bearing fixed interest or fixed dividend. Then here, equity shareholders funds means equity share capital. Equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. Okay, only these two items. Shareholders funds means equity share capital, preference share capital and reserves and surplus. But here only equity shareholders funds they have given. So only equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. Okay, now we are thorough about these three formulas. Now we will do the problem. Third exercise. Okay, turn to page number 321. Okay, third one we have not done. Now we will do the fourth one. Okay, debt equity ratio, then proprietary ratio, capital gearing ratio. Here in the seventh problem they have asked everything together. Okay, seventh problem, so we will do that one. Okay, seventh problem, from the following balance sheet of James Limited. It is in page number 322. James Limited as on 31 March 2019 calculate debt equity ratio, proprietary ratio and the capital gearing ratio. Okay, the first one, debt equity ratio. So for the debt equity ratio, what is the formula? Long-term debt divided by shareholders funds. Long-term debt divided by shareholders funds. Here, what are the long-term debt? Okay, long-term debt. What is given? In the liabilities side, we have to see. Okay, long-term debt. Long-term borrowings given, isn't it? That is called long-term debt. 3 lakh. What is given? 3 lakh. Then shareholders funds. Shareholders funds means what are they? Equity share capital, preference share capital plus reserves and surplus. Here equity share capital 2,50,000. Preference share capital 2 lakh. Reserves and surplus 1,50,000. So here 2,50,000, 1,50,000, 4 lakh, 4 lakh plus 2, 6 lakh. Okay. So what is the ratio? So here you can write debt equity ratio means long term debt. No need to write again. Okay, long term debt means 3 lakh divided by 6 lakh. Okay, so 1,50,50, 1:2. Okay, or you can write 0.5:1. Okay, debt equity ratio. Then number 2, second ratio. Second one, proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio. What is the formula for proprietary ratio? I have to remember the proprietors. Okay, so first shareholders funds divided by total assets. Okay, here shareholders funds already we have calculated, isn't it? Shareholders funds. Shareholders funds 6 lakh. Okay, shareholders funds 6 lakh. Then total assets in the problem, you see total assets. Assets, the last one, 12 lakhs. Okay, now proprietary ratio. Here shareholders funds 6 lakh. This one 12 lakh. Okay, all 50, 6 by 12, so 1 by 2. So 1:2. Or you can write 0.5:1. Okay. You can simplify and write for 1. Okay, not 2. 0.5:1. Okay, the ratio. Proprietary ratio. Then third one, capital gearing ratio. Sorry, yes. Capital gearing ratio. What is the formula for calculating the capital gearing ratio? Funds bearing fixed interest or fixed dividend divided by equity shareholders funds. Okay, funds bearing fixed interest or fixed dividend. What are they? Okay, here preference share capital. Okay, 6% preference share capital plus then long term borrowing 8% debenture. Okay, 8% debenture. That's all, isn't it? How much is the preference share capital? 2 lakh. Plus debentures, how much? 3 lakh. Okay, so 5 lakh. Then equity shareholders funds. So here only equity share capital. Equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. Equity share capital how much? 2,50,000. Reserves and surplus 1,50,000. Okay, equal to 4 lakh. So capital gearing ratio is equal to fund bearing how much? 5 lakh divided by 4 lakh. All 5 zeros, 5:4, isn't it? So how can we write this? One means 1, isn't it? Here it is 1 4, here 1 4, 1 point, then we will add, that is 1 0, isn't it? Balance 1 0. 10, how many 4? 2 4s are 8. Again 2 there, 2 plus 0, 25. So 1.25:1 is 2. Okay, this is the ratio. Okay, have you understood this ratios? Okay, all the other problems you can try, because here 5 ratios we have completed. Okay, 2 main ratios. Okay, liquidity ratios and long term solvency ratios we have completed. Okay, once again I will tell you the formula. Okay, all the revised ones. Current ratio, current assets divided by current liabilities. Okay, current assets, what are the current assets? Investments. Okay, then inventories, that means the closing stock. Then trade receivables including bills receivable and sundry debtor, cash and cash equivalents. Then loan, any short term loans given. Then prepaid expenses and accrued income. Then what are the current liabilities? All the short term borrowings. Then trade payables, that includes bills payable and sundry creditors. Then outstanding expenses, then income received in advance, okay, or any other short-term provisions. Okay, that is called current ratio. Then the next ratio is liquid ratio. Sorry, uh, the quick ratio. This quick ratio is also called liquid ratio or acid test ratio. Okay, we previous to this year we have learned that liquid ratio only, current ratio, liquid ratio. Okay, it is having another name only. We have studied quick ratio or acid test ratio or liquid ratio. Liquid assets. What are the liquid assets? Means current assets minus inventories and prepaid expenses. Okay, so quick current assets minus inventories minus prepaid expenses, that is called the quick ratio. Then the second variety, long-term solvency ratios. There these ratios are again divided into three. Long-term solvency ratios only three. First one, debt equity ratio. Here you have to think about first debt, then equity. Okay, debt means long-term debt, equity means shareholders funds. So long-term debt includes debentures, bonds, loan and other borrowing. Then shareholders funds means equity share capital, preference share capital and reserves and surplus. Okay, then second ratio, proprietary ratio. Here shareholders funds, you have to think about only proprietors. They are shareholders funds, then total assets. Okay, shareholders funds we know equity share capital, preference share capital, reserves and surplus. Total asset we know all the current asset plus fixed asset. Then third ratio, capital gearing ratio. Here you have to, that first one, fund bearing fixed interest or fixed dividend divided by shareholders funds. Okay, here equity shareholders funds. The funds bearing fixed interest or fixed dividend means the preference share capital, debenture and any other bond or any other long-term borrowing having fixed interest. Equity shareholders funds include equity share capital plus reserves and surplus. Okay, if you know the formula clearly, you can do the problems easily. Okay, students, so learn these 5 formulas and what should be added to calculate one item. Okay, that you must be very clear. Okay, students, thank you very much.